Look, the biggest podcast where you can learn them lessons. Line for line where you can learn from different sections. Made it out the mud, come tell your story, blessings. Never know who listening, never know who stressing. Devon gave you a voice, come speak your honest truth. Line for line, go bar for bar, it's up to you. Wanna talk sports, gov, and politics? Wanna talk about where you from and your accomplishments? The Line for Line is really where you need to be. A platform that's really made for folks like you and me. You can find it all no matter what you seek. Whether you calling or you listening, tune in every week.
All right, we're back on another episode of Barely Watch Podcast, sponsored by Line for Line Podcast. We have a very special guest in the building. We have Mr. Lester Wiltfong in the building. Lester, it's been a minute. How are you feeling today?
I'm doing good, man. Yeah, it's been a while since we talked last. We talk every now and again, but yeah, about Bears. Yeah, Bears are looking good, man. It's exciting time to be a fan.
Yes, sir. Well, I'll go ahead and kick off the news. Obviously, we know the draft just happened. We were able to get a lot of players for the small capital that we had. So we were able to get Caleb Williams and Robo Dunze in the first round. Just tell us a little bit about your thoughts and your reactions to the first round picks that we did have.
Yeah, I mean, the first round was, with Caleb, obviously everyone knew. I mean, that was going to be a thing. I mean, that was the rumor since the season ended. Of course, they made the Justin Fields trade. It was like, yeah, okay, now it's for sure happening. So there were some fans holding on hope, but you know, the hope kind of went away. Now they're seeing who Caleb is. You know, there was a lot of BS out there about Caleb Williams. A lot of it floated out there was just, I'm guessing from like other teams and other agents trying to just floating things, kind of hopefully hurt his stock. But he ain't coming on past the Bears. So once he was the guy, once the Bears vetted him, they talked to him, met with him, clear-cut pick, and it's exciting, man. He's the real deal. He's a good talent. So that was obvious. But then getting Roma Dunze, man, the mocks had him going there, some mocks early in the process, but some teams started valuing him. They started seeing what he could do. So I thought he would go earlier. The fact that he went to 9, the Bears didn't mess around.
It was rumored to have it, not to cut you off, but it was rumored to have it that the Giants wanted him really bad as well, too.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants were with Neighbors, Malik Neighbors from LSU. Obviously, Marvin Harrison Jr. went up, a little earlier. So, as the whole, look at he's the wide receiver 3, but most classes he's a top receiver. This is a legit #1 receiver. And the cool thing with the Bears is DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, they're in the house. You don't got to force a Dunze to be the man right away. Bring him along slowly as a rookie. Let him learn his role, learn the route, learn the pro game from a couple true veterans in Moore and Allen. Best case scenario is getting Williams, Dunze, let them grow together. It's perfect.
Of course. How good would you say that will speak to his development to have one of the greatest route runners in the NFL, Keenan Allen, and a true #1 DJ Moore to learn from and to be able to watch?
Oh yeah, I mean that's key. Like you said, it's those guys are true pros. Keenan Allen is one of the best route runners in the game. DJ Moore, that's not talked about a lot because he's such a good athlete, but he's a good precise route runner. They're true pros. I mean, they know what's going on here. They conduct themselves professionally. And Dunze's the same way. Coming out of Washington, he had a lot of those same characteristics. High character, team captain. We're really good in the community. So perfect fit for that wide receiver room in the Bears.
Of course, of course. Now, what would be your response when people say, "Oh, well, Verse was still there. There were so many DNs or so many offensive tackles that we could have got and really made the team overall better going forward and now"?
Yeah, it's just the value. I mean, you look at the value of the pick. Like I said, he was wide receiver 3 in this class, according to some, but most classes he's the top guy. So if they would have went with Verse, Turner, one of these other guys, Latu from UCLA, good players also, but on the Bears board just weren't nowhere near where they had Roma Dunze rated.
Of course, of course. So obviously those are our first 2 picks in the first round. What was it, day 3 that we had our next pick was?
Day 2.
Day 2. Oh, we did have day 2 pick. Okay.
Did they have a day 2? I don't know. It's a blur now. Yeah.
Of course, of course. So who was the next pick after Odunze went off the board?
Kieran Amangaji.
Yeah, okay.
I knew you were going to make me say the name. I wanted you to say it so I could hear it.
I didn't know. So what did you think of that pick, and what does that do for Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears?
I mean, he's a local kid, so that's kind of cool. He grew up a Bears fan. I don't know if you right away, as soon as the pick was made, of course fans go to Twitter, right? They want to see what's going on. He's ripping on the Bears online back in the day, just like us fans were. So it's kind of cool to see that he has that, he's a true fan. So, getting him, I didn't know a lot about him, to be honest with you. He went to Yale, obviously a smaller program, but
high IQ though.
High IQ, good athlete, long arms. He had a quad injury at the Senior Bowl that kind of had some scouts didn't get a chance to see him fully. But everything I learned about him since, all the film I've watched since, he has starting potential right now.
No way, stop playing.
Well, I mean,
don't get our hopes up.
Not as a rookie, you know what I'm saying? Because, but he's a guy that, he has that upside. So, Braxton Jones is still there, obviously, so let him come and compete. Braxton Jones is going to be out of contract in a year, so we'll see what happens there. But this guy has that kind of potential where he could be a starter down the road.
Got it. Now, obviously, that was one thing about polls as well, too. They didn't have much wiggle room with this year and the amount of picks that they did have. How well would you say that he performed to what he had to work with this year?
Yeah, I mean, they got Torrey Taylor, the punter, in the fourth. I thought it was over. That's a fine pick. A head scratcher for sure, special teamer, punter. But, everything you hear after the fact that there were several teams that were kind of ticked off the Bears took him because they wanted them in a little later in the round.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, Taylor thought he would go a little earlier, get to talk to a couple teams, but boards fall differently for each team. Getting them at the fourth was perfect. Then trading back in, man. I mean, the Bears identified an edge need they had. They came back into to the fifth round, got Austin Booker. So, yeah, I mean, for just the 5 picks they got, that's a lot of value.
Yeah. So now, for the little that you were able to see from Austin Booker out of Kansas, what would you say that you saw? What flashes or what things did you say he needs to work on as well?
Size. I mean, he has the size, length. He's 6'4", 6'5". He's got to put on some bulk. I think he's coming out of college at like the 235, 240. So a little light for defensive end in the Bears scheme, but he's strong for his size already. So that tells you that once he gets in a pro weight room, he'll add real bulk, real size, real mass. But good speed. Good bender on the edge. He has a lot of moves, which you don't expect out of a redshirt sophomore. Most guys that age, it's like I got a speed rush, or I got a spin. He's got a lot of moves. He doesn't know how to put them all together yet, but that's where coaching comes in.
Now, do you see him being a rotational piece this year? Maybe special teams. What could you say you expect to see from this young man?
Yeah, I mean, I would expect right off the bat, especially how the Bears roster looks now, he's going to be in the mix for like a third down role rushing passer. I mean, he has to. I mean, look who's in the roster right now. It's Sweat, it's Walker, and then who's your next edge? You know what I mean? I mean, they're going to probably bring in a veteran, I would say, at some point.
Calais Campbell?
That's possible. I mean, I mean, look at Calais Campbell, 37, 38.
Yeah.
He can play edge, he can play tackle. He's a good pro. He's probably looking for like a team more of like a legit Super Bowl contender at this point in his career. But I like him. I mean, if he comes in, perfect.
Yeah.
Maybe Yannick Ngakoue comes back. I know.
We expected high from him last year, and we were really disappointed. I mean, I won't hold my breath.
I mean, he's a pro. I mean, that's one thing you got to him. He knows how to play the game. The numbers weren't there last year, but his production helped when they got Sweat, because Sweat takes a lot of the pressure off Ngakoue. So possibly, but if not, like I said, with Booker, he has good speed off the edge. I mean, if they tell him, "Hey, Rook, get in there," and you go after the quarterback. If he's in there on like 3rd and 15. He's not worrying about setting the edge. He's just worrying about his pass rush, his moves, get to the quarterback.
Yes, sir. So now, what would you rate the Chicago Bears draft this year from A to C?
Yeah, I mean, it's A. I mean, you look at all around. I mean, I'm not a huge grade draft right off the bat, but all the pundits, all the analysts, all the experts, A plus for the most part. There's some haters out there, of course, that were like, oh, it's a B because they only had 5 picks, or it was a B because they didn't like Caleb Williams. But, for the most part, that's a draft class for sure.
Of course. Now, when it comes to Caleb Williams, who has just been this polarizing player since high school, how well do you think he will transition into the NFL, and what will that look like in his rookie year playing for the Bears?
Yeah, I mean, if he's healthy, he should set all the Bears rookie records.
Stop playing.
I mean, what did we look at? 11, 12 touchdown passes? That's a horrible, you know what I mean? So, I mean, Charlie O'Rourke has that record. It stood for like 80 years.
For real?
Yeah, so I mean, he should be able to do that if he stays healthy. The passing yards as a rookie, I think it's like 1,200 yards. I mean, or 2,100 yards from Mitch, I think. So, again, not a high record. If he's healthy, he'll break the rookie records.
Yes. So, is it safe to start saying that we got the guy now, or we've heard that word thrown around a lot when it comes to Chicago Bears in the quarterback position?
He comes in a little different. I mean, he's a high draft pick, obviously, just like Justin Fields was, just like Mitch Trubisky was. Going back further, just like Rex Grossman was first round pick, but
Rexy sexy.
He's got something different. I mean, he's just built differently. I mean, he has been aiming for this goal since he's like a grade school kid.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of these guys that is like driven. You know, I mean, there was a plan in place from him and his family. He wants to be a first-round draft pick. He wants to be a pro quarterback. That's been his goal, and now it's achieved.
Of course, of course. Now, do you think the Chicago Bears and Shane Waldron, they're the people for the task to develop this quarterback into something? Because obviously they speak on Waldron and him being able to revive quarterbacks now. Do you think he's able to push a newbie out there and get the job done?
Yeah, I like the Waldron hire. I mean, he's been a play caller for 3 years in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
He's been around the Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan system for his whole professional career, which is a proven system in the NFL. I mean, that's what Matt Eberflus wanted. I mean, when he hired Getsy, that's what he wanted. He wanted a Shanahan, McVay scheme. That's what he thought he was getting. Getsy, I don't know what happened. It's like Getsy sold Flus on this bill. Like, hey, this is who I am. When he got to the NFL, he didn't really do that much. So Flus is getting the offense he wants to see his team run. So yeah, I think Waldron's a good fit. You know, during his time in Seattle, the thing I like about him best is he always changed up his personnel. Whatever he has, he'll use. You know, the Bears have 2 good tight ends. He'll play 2 tight ends. The Bears have 3 good receivers. He'll play 3 receiver sets. You know, the Bears have a talented group of tailbacks. He'll figure out a way to get Khalil Herbert, Swift, Roshan Johnson. He'll get them all involved because that's what he's done in Seattle. He uses what he has, and with Getsy, he wanted everyone to do what he wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Waldron's more flexible.
Got it. Now, with these high octane offenses that we see around the NFL and in today's football, you have to put up 30 plus points to win. Just help us Bears fans understand what type of offense we'll be finally seeing from our Bears this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we said, it's the McVay Shanahan style. A lot of the bootleg stuff, you know, the league has evolved. There's so much shotgun these days, so we'll still see a lot of shotgun. Obviously at USC, Caleb Williams did a ton of shotgun. You know, most of his snaps were out of the shotgun, but the thing is each offseason he's worked on under center stuff. He's worked on these concepts, so he's not coming in here blind. I mean, he knows what he's doing. Plus, he's had parts of the Bears playbook and scheme now for the last few months. Mm-hmm. He's already worked on some stuff that he does, so it's going to be similar to some of the concepts we did see with Getsy as far as some of the bootleg stuff, mm-hmm. but it's going to be run at a much higher level. Mm-hmm. And now, of course, like the talent's there. I mean, the talent is, you know, we talk about it. You know, Dunze, you know, Keenan Allen, you know, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, you know, Gerald Everett. You know, there is talent at every phase of this offense. So, Caleb Williams, year one, just be a point guard. That's all they ask you to do. Moving down the road, now they'll start winning games because of Caleb. But for a rookie, just let the offense come to you.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you think we'll see them take the training wheels off and let this guy throw the ball down the field? Because for some reason, we have not seen them let the Bears quarterback throw the ball down the field for whatever strange reason. Do you think we'll get to see that from Caleb Williams?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to. I mean, it's still a passing league. The NFL is. I mean, as much as we enjoyed watching the Bears and Justin Fields and the running and all the fun stuff he did back there, scrambling, teams win in the NFL by passing. It's not the 80s anymore. You can't just, you know, run the ball, play tough defense. You got to be able to throw the ball to win. And Caleb, that's why he's here. He's here because he's a quarterback. You know, he wants to win from the pocket. You know, and if the Bears, you know, support him like they have, I mean, I think he'll be good.
Of course. Now, as a guy with the temperament that you have, Lester, what would you say is your biggest worry when it does come to Caleb Williams and him being at the quarterback position?
Man, I gotta be honest, man. I'm not too concerned with much.
Oh, really?
I mean, he has so much good in his game that you watch. I mean, yeah, he takes some sacks in college, but you got to look at the situation. USC was pretty bad last year. I mean, his defense gave up 40 points a game. So he was always playing from behind. He was always playing catch up. He had to play the hero ball, which is the big knock on him. He tries to hold the ball too long. He tries to make the big play. Well, yeah, I mean, because he had to. That's what he had to do in college. His O-line was pretty bad last year, so he was always pressured. So if that's just a college thing, that's a college situation that he had to deal with there. If he can kind of put that in the back, and you know, of course, the ball security, all rookies are concerned about this. So, but again, I think a lot of that was just because of what he played in, because how the Trojans were. They were just so bad last year. I think he'll be fine. I mean, I think he has the right mentality. You know, you already hear him talked about it quite a bit, you know, during his press conference. He talked yesterday at the presser at the first day of rookie minicamp. He's there to learn. You know, he's there to absorb what his veterans tell him, and then you know, that's the first step of leadership. If he had a good follower, that's what he's talking about.
Of course, of course. Switching sides of the ball now. Let's talk about that defense. Defense was so last year. What could you expect from them going forward this year? With them not really adding much, obviously they got a new safety, new starting safety as well too. But they really didn't make that big splash yet. So just tell us what you expect from the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, this is year 3 in the Flus system, so to speak. So all those guys that have been in it, you know, we kind of saw it back in the Lovie Smith days. It takes a while to learn this system. It's a very precise zone-based scheme. It's not quite the same as the Tampa 2 was, but it's still, you know, you have to know your spots. You have to know your landmarks. You have to know your gaps. You know, you have to have all this stuff, you know, to be precise with it as a defense. So T.J. Edwards now year 2. Trey Edmonds year 2, Brisker, Gordon, you know, a lot of the young talent have been in it for their whole career. So I'm expecting this group to take another jump. You know, Montez Sweat will be here for a full year. Mm-hmm. You know, he is just, you know, he is that dude. You know, I didn't think he was as good, to be honest. When the Bears made the trade, I'm like, oh, it's a nice trade. He's a good player. He's really good. Oh man, he's good against the run, good against the pass. He's a great leader, a good guy in the locker room. So I just think that, you know, they got to figure out the second edge. I mean, I like DeMarcus Walker, but I like him more as a piece around the line.
I was going to say a rotational piece.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's good, but I think that if you can find one more guy to do some pass rush juice off the edge, maybe it's Booker. You know, maybe it's Dominique Robinson now. In year 3, he finally figures it out. So I think if they figure out one more edge, I think they're going to be a pretty good defense.
Got it. Now, me and the rest of the Bears are counting on you for this answer, Lester. About how many wins are we going to see from the Bears this year, man?
Everybody asks for it. It's May, man.
And if Lester says it, it's gold. So we want to hear it from the man himself. About how many wins could you see? In playoff bound or no?
Yeah, I think it's a playoff team for sure.
Let's go! Let's go!
The Bears had 7 wins last year, right? And Coach Flus, because he was so conservative, right? And Gattius was so conservative, they blew at least 3 games.
And Justin Fields missed a couple games, 4 games, right?
Yeah, he had some injuries. So as long as Coach Flus evolves, and we talk about players have to develop, right? Mm-hmm. So do coaches. You know, coaches have to develop. We saw with Bill Belichick. He was terrible his first year as a head coach. Mm-hmm. Coaches evolve. You know, maybe Flus now won't be as conservative. He'll let his players play. He'll take a shot. He won't just sit back in his zone if he has the lead. He'll be aggressive. Maybe we saw it a little bit last year. So if he can take some of that conservative stuff and get rid of it, I see no reason why they're not pushing for a playoff spot. I think 9-10 wins is something that should be on the table.
Ladies and gentlemen, if Lester says it, that means it's going to happen because Lester has never been wrong, right?
Never.
As we get ready to close out this phenomenal episode of Barely Watch Podcast, let's just speak on the whole aura around the Bears right now. Obviously, the new stadium is in the works. Obviously, they're trying to move to a lavish stadium, get that rebuilt. We got the generational talent, Caleb Williams, in there. What does this mean for the Chicago Bears going forward? Does this mean that there's just a shift in our organization and we're going to be looking at the Bears as perennial contenders? What does it just mean for the Bears with all of this aura around them?
Well, I mean, this started with Ryan Poles. I mean, he came in, you know, and he stripped this thing down, right? I mean, he gave that first year that team sucked. They had nothing, you know. It's a slow build last year. We're like, oh, we wanted more. We just didn't see enough. Year 3. A lot of pieces are in place for him. You know, like you mentioned, the aura around the team. I mean, Caleb Williams coming in, he's already a star. Mm-hmm. I mean, he has national ad. He's on commercials. I mean, he's coming in, the NIL guys coming in. He's a million already. He's coming in with a brand. If you look at the NFL, like the Facebook and Twitter pages, who's on their header?
Caleb Williams.
It's Caleb Williams. When's the last time a Bear was that nationally recognized? And he's coming as a rookie with that. So as long as he's fine as a rookie, the aura, it's fun again, man. It's fun to be a Bears fan. You know, he's got the claw going on now, and everyone's doing the claw, so it's like there's an excitement around the Bears, and it's a lot of it is Caleb Williams, but it goes back further. It's the organization as a whole. They built it up the right way, and we're going to see that really pay off hopefully this year.
Of course. Now, what do you say to those fans? Like, let's say we see that first game, and Caleb Williams throws 2 picks, he's not looking hot. What advice would you give to them to just stay patient and to stay down for the cause?
There's some guys that are going to be pissed off no matter what, right? Yeah. Like there's some guys that are holding on to, like they wanted Justin Fields to stay. Mm-hmm. So if Caleb does anything wrong, it's C, you know what I mean? It's going to happen. So you know what? Don't listen to those guys. Just, they don't know ball. You know, it's like let Caleb learn. Like I said, first year, be the point guard. You know, get the ball to your guys, and then moving forward, he'll learn the game a little better, and they'll be winning because of him at that point. So I think it's they're not going undefeated. They're not going to win a title.
Wait, they're not going to win the Super Bowl this year?
Not this year, probably not. So
Okay.
I think, just it's going to happen with all rookies. It takes time. Caleb coming in with a much higher ceiling than most, so he's going to struggle. They all struggle. All rookies struggle. Things happen. So
Did C.J. Stroud struggle?
he had his moments. I mean, what the Texans win? They were 10-7 last year.
Yes, sir.
Again, I see no reason why the Bears can't be in that same area. 9-10 wins. And the NFC's not as good as the AFC. The AFC's tough, right? If you win 9 games in the NFC, you're definitely in a wild card spot. If you win 10, yeah, you're in there for sure. So I think the chance is there for him to kind of have that same type of season.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard that here first on Barely Watch Podcast, sponsored by Line for Line Podcast. That was the special guest, Lester Wiltfong. I'm your host, Von Booker. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time.
You calling or you listening, tune in every week. Line for line. Oh yeah, I'm going line for line.